Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Wednesday, the 8th of January, as we look ahead to tomorrow's match at Dens Park. Chris Jacks joins me. How's it going, Chris? You're back in your humble abode this morning.
I am indeed. Proof that I wasn't kicked out. Proof that there is no disharmony in the Jack household. Proof that I was just indeed on the nursery run yesterday morning. So back in, the heater's on to try and give me a bit of warmth in here. It's a cold one here this morning, but another lovely morning. So nice morning for it. Hopefully it's going to raise temperature slightly ahead of Dens Park tomorrow, but it doesn't look likely. So it could be a cold evening on Tayside for us all.
Yeah, make sure you've got your thermals on tomorrow. Let's just hope we've got a game on, because you went up there about 655 times last season, and we all know about the pitch situation. So, I'm sure Dundee will be making sure that the pitch is ready tomorrow. But if you are heading up to Dens Park, folks, then, as Chris says, it's going to be a chilly one. So make sure you wrap up warm. Right, let's dive right in. Of course, almost a week into the transfer window. No business as yet as far as Rangers are concerned, but certainly plenty of players linked to the club. We discussed yesterday about the need for centre-backs, Chris. Rangers are actively looking to boost the centre-back reinforcements in there, and it's understandable why. One player who has been linked, I think we touched on him briefly yesterday, a former player, and that is Nico Katic. According, I've seen a report in the Daily Record that claims that he is looking for a return to Ibrox. He's currently playing for FC Zurich in Switzerland, contracted until the summer of 2026, but it's thought that he's looking to move on. A number of clubs said to be interested in him. A source close to the player is quoted as saying, "We've had nothing concrete yet, but we've seen some stories in the media, and of course, Nico would like it a lot if he could return to Rangers. We are currently in negotiations with some clubs, one also from England, but if Rangers knock on the door, that would be the priority for Nicola. He still has 18 months remaining on his contract in Zurich, but if it is meant for him to return to Rangers, he will be there." I think this sort of stems off the back of Craig Moore suggesting that he would be a good option for Rangers with his physicality, his aerial prowess, Chris. Nico Katic, I've seen the comments are rifling in on the side of my screen here. Certainly splits opinion. Would you like to see Katic return home?
I can also see the same comments as you, and safe to say that it's split. I think some people saying they'll bring him home. He'd be an ideal signing, as Ian says there. Other people saying that fans perhaps have short memories, and he perhaps wasn't as accomplished first time around as people perhaps recall. I think we spoke a lot yesterday about the profile that Rangers need in terms of someone that's a bit more physical, someone who is better in the air, someone who has that more robust style about them. I think Nico fits into that category. He's the right kind of profile, still right at the right age, but I'm not sure that it seems to be I don't know if this is a very Rangers thing or if it's just a general football fan thing of always bring someone back. Now, we've seen it over the last couple of weeks with Ryan Kent. We heard it with Morelos previously. There's always this kind of clamour to bring players back to the club. It very rarely works out. You also have examples like Stephen Davis, like Alan McGregor, but they were top players and knew the club had an association and affiliation with the club. They were always going to work out second time around. Don't think there's any guarantees that Nico Katic does. I thought he was a great big guy when he was here. He was really good to deal with. Clearly bought into the club and liked the fans and really embraced the Rangers lifestyle. He wasn't a regular centre half every week. I think he does have his failings. He's also had his injury issues as well. But yeah, I think he does tick a lot of boxes. But I would like to see Rangers go in a different route. I think, as I touched on yesterday, really interesting to see when this deal for a centre half is actually done. Would the Rangers invest in it? Is it going to be a fee? Is it going to be a free transfer on a short-term deal? Is it going to be a loan? Is there going to be an option in there? There's a couple of different options that Rangers could go down. Personally, I don't see them putting an awful lot of money into this signing. They're going to finish second. A centre half coming in is not going to change that. So with everything else that's going on at the club right now, I don't see them going and investing a couple of £1 million in a centre half that's going to want to play, that's going to want a long-term contract, when there's just too many other questions on the table right now. So I think that would rule out someone like Katic. But I think he's a great guy when he was here. Really liked him as a player. Is he right for Rangers right now? Probably not. And I think the way that the conversation has been around Nico, he would really like it. Well, I'm sure he would. But would Rangers like it? Time will tell. I have messaged someone this morning to see if there's anything in this one. So if the phone goes in the next 20 minutes or so, hopefully provide an update. But as it stands, not heard anything from the Rangers end to suggest that there's anything in it.
Yeah, I like Big Katic. I've got to say, when he was at the club, I think his ACL certainly ruined his career at Ibrox, which is hugely unfortunate. He's not the only player where injury has really ravaged his time at Rangers, but I think he would certainly fit the bill for the sort of calibre player that Rangers, I feel, are missing, which is that physicality at the back. Now, he's not the best with the ball at his feet, but Rangers do have that option already. That matches like tomorrow night, when they will be tested by a physical Dundee side, you would imagine. But interesting point is coming from Katic's end. Nothing on Rangers, as Chris says, on that front. Moving on from that, there's a few comments coming in just on Katic and another player, Chris, we touched on yesterday. Mark Robb with the point says, would rather Katic than Porteous. This was not quite sure where I've seen this, but his name was mentioned. Apparently, Hull City said to be keeping tabs on Ryan Porteous, but it's not thought that Rangers are.
No, we can officially kill that one stone dead. There is no. I think when we touched on this yesterday, we said that it would be quite a hard sell for Rangers to present Ryan Porteous to Rangers fans. Interestingly, I have seen comments on social media and on the show saying some people would take him. Again, it's very much split. A lot of people saying he's not the right quality, he's not the right standard. They wouldn't have him at Rangers. It's not going to happen. There's no interest from Rangers and Ryan Porteous. So those rumours can be ended here. That chat can be ended here. Hopefully that's the last time, because I think, as we said yesterday, it has come around previously. I think before he went down south. I think it's probably come back up in the last window as well. But there is no interest from the Rangers end in Ryan Porteous.
Yeah, good is my response to that. Like you say, I think it would have been a hard sell. Not a big fan of the lad, to be honest with you. So that one has been kiboshed. Some interesting points just on the current players that are in the squad at the moment and ahead of tomorrow's game. Bolt, the fitness of Leon Balogun, guys. On that, when we speak to the manager, he is due to speak to the press around about 2:30 this afternoon. So we'll have all the coverage from the Rangers training centre. But I think, Leon's missed the last few games. Chris, the manager did say he had a very, very small chance of making the Celtic match. He wasn't in the squad and it hasn't featured since. So, listen, I think with the injury situation with Dujon Sterling, we'll also get an update on him later on this afternoon. But, he was clutching his ankle at Easter Road. It didn't look too good, I've got to say. If Leon Balogun can be past fit, then it certainly boosts matters with regards to selection.
It does. I think there's quite a lot riding on the well-being of Leon Balogun right now for a number of reasons. One, just because Rangers are so short of bodies, but two, he's also the best centre half that Rangers potentially have available right now. The manager asked him about Sterling, Balogun and Suter post-match on Sunday, and his response to the Suter question wasn't overly promising. It sounded like he could be another wee while yet. So that puts a lot of pressure on Balogun to try and get back. Now, there's no point in doing anything silly, given the schedule. There's no point in throwing him in just for Dundee away and then risking another couple of weeks out, because in that couple of weeks he can miss a lot of games right now, given the number of fixtures that Rangers have. So I think they would like to get him back as quickly as possible, but I don't see the manager really pushing it if there's any doubt there. Sterling, hopefully that's not a bad one. Hopefully that was just a bang that he took. I think someone actually might have fallen on him and just kind of landed awkwardly. So hopefully that's not a bad one. Because I say Rangers just so short of options. Now, if those two don't make it, you're then looking at Leon King coming in. If they don't make it for the weekend, and as we touched on yesterday, there's no Robin Popper for the weekend, you're then looking at King and Enciala. That's very much a B team backline that Rangers are fielding. Now, with all respect to St Johnstone, it's a game that Rangers should fancy their chances of winning, even with two younger players at centre half. But you don't really want to be taking the chance. Again, as we touched on yesterday, Clement can't really take chances right now. He needs results. He needs performances. He needs to try and build a bit of momentum again. So he will be I think he'll be hoping that he does have either Sterling or Balogun, ideally both available. Just gives him those options in that back line, which is very much down on numbers at present.
Yeah. Apologies, folks, if a few technical issues on my end. I got the dreaded Wi-Fi signal. Denzel said, poor Derek, your Wi-Fi hasn't been the same since you get punted out the lounge. And Robert says, I can confirm I'm on dry land, but the Wi-Fi a bit temperamental down here in good old Warrington, but hopefully it holds up for the remainder of this video. Other potential, the defensive side of things, like you say, Chris, is a concern. Of course, we'll hear more later on this afternoon. This caught my eye, this comment, and it is following. I seen a report suggesting that Villarreal were keeping tabs on this player, Václav Cerny, of course. William with a point. Do you think Rangers should make a move for Václav before other teams look at him? He's been a good addition to the team, good loan move so far. He wasn't getting much game time at Wolfsburg. He's now getting regular game time at Rangers, probably more than he said it himself, than he expected since he arrived at the club. I think he looked a tad tired at Easter Road, but he's been a real good addition to the squad. Now, with regards to, I've seen many saying, could Rangers go out and push the boat out and try and sign him on a permanent basis? I think it would depend on how much Wolfsburg are looking for. Rangers can afford that. Sort of Abdallah Sima last season. If he fancies it, then I'd be all over that. Would you?
It is this situation that Rangers have found themselves in. You mentioned Sima there. Malik Tillman comes to mind of loan players come in. They're one of the best players in the team. The fans really like them, and then Rangers can't afford them because they've done that well, and someone else can outspend them in the market. Cerny, he spoke a couple of weeks ago about his future in general and how much he's enjoyed his time at Rangers. He doesn't seem overly pressed or overly fussed, if that's the right word, to really get into it right now. I think he's very much focused on what the rest of the season is going to bring for him, and then he'll then focus on it then. It still has 2 years left on his contract at Wolfsburg, so as you say, they're going to look for a fee. What that fee is, we're not really sure. There's no set fee in the Rangers agreement with them, so I think it's going to be a tricky one potentially for Rangers to get done if he continues to score and to assist at the level and at the rate that he has been. There's actually some quotes from him doing the rounds yesterday. He gave an interview in his back at his homeland, and he said, "I'm playing a season at Rangers without an option to buy. I have to say that I've completely let go of thinking about returning to Wolfsburg for now. I'm enjoying it here immensely. I don't want to think what will happen. There will be a time for that towards the end of the season when things start to settle down. So I think that kind of reaffirms that he's not really pushing it. I don't think he'll push it from his end. I think he'll just be enjoying the fact that he's playing as regularly, that he's playing as well. Ultimately, come the end of the season, would I like to see Rangers do a deal for him? Yes, but it comes down to the financial package as always. There's going to be a number of players, regardless of who the manager is. There's going to be another fairly significant churn of this squad. We know there's still players that should be moved on. They will have to be replaced. So if Cerny can continue in the manner that he has been, I would definitely like to see him remain at the club for the longer term. But it's going to come down to the bottom line.
Yeah. That's an interesting point from William. He says, Derek, Chris, can we get out of the agreement to buy Corteous? Looks like a waste of money. No is the short answer to that. It's an obligation to buy. It's like this, structured like the Mohamed Diamandi deal. Rangers will pay Lawns around about 4 million. But I get your point. The jury's out on Oscar Corteous at this moment in time, just given the fact, as we touched on with Nikola Katic, he has been really hampered by injury, and we've not really seen the best of him. I think he is a quality player. I think there is a player in there. Whether he is robust enough to play for Rangers, I think question marks are certainly on that one at this moment in time. I would love to see him really show what he's made of, Chris, but you can understand why fans are a little bit apprehensive about this one and thinking to themselves, this is look like a bit of a costly move, a waste of money.
A lot to prove for me right now, not just in terms of being fit enough and being able to get through the games, but to show that he can actually contribute at the level required. I think in each of the wee stints that he has been fit, we've seen flashes, we've seen small things that you think there's definitely someone there. He's not been able to put together the run of games to then do that on a consistent basis. And obviously since his last injury, then working his way back from that, we've seen Rangers could change the makeup of that front three, front four. Yanis Hadji on that been really impressive. Hadji, I doubt you'll find MD that it doesn't want him to start on Thursday night. So where is Corteous then going to fit into that side? He's going to have to be patient. He's going to have to wait for his chance to come around. But when it then does, he has to take it. I think it's been a bit, both last season and this season, it's been really stop-start because of the injuries. So I think he has to prove himself in that regard. First, prove that he can be robust enough to get through the schedule, and if he can do that, then go and show why there was a lot of hype about him as a younger player. We had a piece on the site when he first signed, looking at his youth career, really highly rated, done well for his international side at youth level. Was one of the main players in the league. Then got that move to France. Didn't quite work out for him. Seemed to go into a club where the system was never going to work for him. Seemed a bad move for him at that time. Rangers was then seen as a fresh start and an opportunity. It's just never quite worked. He's never really had the chances because of those injuries that he's picked up. So quite a lot to prove for me, but I'm not going to write him off just yet.
Yeah, interestingly, I spoke to a Lawns podcaster at the time when Rangers signed him, and he was a bit miffed as to why, after signing him from his team over, I think he played in Colombia, didn't he? He would like to have seen him stay at Lawns for a little bit longer, but jury very much out on that one. Another point I wanted to bring up, where am I now? Yeah, tomorrow night's game, of course. Connor Barron will be coming back into the midfield as Nico Raskin serves his one-match suspension. I've got to say, it still infuriates me, that decision to show him a yellow card and not Callum McGregor at the end of the first half in that recent Old Firm match. Nico called it out himself, which he was quite right to do. Got no issue with Nico Raskin getting a yellow, but Callum McGregor has to be shown a yellow card as well. Anyway, he will be missing tomorrow night's game. So Connor Barron, who hasn't featured much of late, Chris, is likely to get the nod at the heart of the midfield. Now, Nico has been in fantastic form for Rangers. Conor Barron, for me, has been another one. I think he's been a good signing for Rangers. I was impressed with him, certainly in his first few months at the club. It sort of went off the boil a little bit, it's fair to say, but certainly a chance for him tomorrow to show why he was brought to the club in the first place.
He was given that chance a couple of weeks ago in the game against St Mirren and didn't see the start of the second half. The manager did say afterwards that he couldn't have made 8 or 9 changes that night, and I can't disagree with him, because Rangers were absolutely terrible in that first half and only slightly better in the second. So that was a chance for Barron to go in and prove that he can be the natural replacement for Raskin when he's not there. It didn't really work that in that game. As you say there, his game time has been somewhat limited of late. There's a piece that I've written on Barron on the site this morning, and looking at his first few months at the club. Started well, I thought. I think he probably played more than perhaps he would have expected. Probably played more than maybe even the manager would have expected, but that was down to issues. Obviously, Nico Raskin at that stage wasn't back up to speed after the injury that he picked up in the season. We know that Rangers were keen to try and add another midfielder into the squad during the window. They wanted a more natural number 6. They wanted to try and add another bit of strength, a wee bit of experience in that area. It didn't happen. As it turns out, as Josh wrote in his Raskin piece a couple of weeks ago, I think it was after the Spurs game, as it turns out, that has been a really good situation for Nico Raskin, because it allowed him to really establish himself in that role. And as you touched on there, he's been really, really impressive over the last few weeks. So consistent, playing at such a high level. Deservedly had the armband for the Celtic game, and turned in another really impressive performance that day as well. So he will be a big miss for Rangers tomorrow. It's not going to be easy without him, but I think Barron has. I think overall he's shown enough to suggest that he can be a steady enough Rangers player. Is he going to be a starter every single week? Right now, probably not. But as the manager has touched on quite a few times, he's still young. He's still learning. He does have a decent bit of experience behind him. And I think that gives him a good foundation. It's not as if he's coming in and he has no first team experience. He's never played in the Premiership, and he's trying to learn everything from scratch. So he does have a good foundation there to build on. But I think fixtures like this, when he's given this chance, that's the type of game he now has to make the most of. As I say in that piece this morning, let's not go overboard and completely write him off and say this is a make or break night for him. But I think it is an important night for him. I think he has to show that he can come back in after a more low key couple of weeks. He maybe has a slight point to prove, and going in there, assuming alongside Diomande, that midfield area is going to be so important for Rangers. They have to win. They have to win that midfield battle tomorrow, and it's the type of game that you expect Barron to come in and go and make an impact in.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a question that came in. We'll bring this up from Thomas. It says, who gets the armband if Tav, Butland and Raskin is out? I'd imagine Robin Proper, who Raskin gave the armband to at the tail end of that Old Firm game. So Robin Proper would be my shout for captain. Anyone else, Chris, that springs to mind that could get the armband tomorrow?
Probably just throw it in my direction up in the press box. I think I'm next. I think I'm next in line after that. No, I think Proper is given his previous experience, obviously captain of 20 for a long time. You'd imagine it would be him after that. Yanis Hadji perhaps as the next one, the most kind of established one after that. Then going down to Liam Kelly, maybe having been captain at Motherwell for a few seasons, if he's in between the sticks. So. Hopefully we'll get an update on Jack Butland later on. Also, the manager will speak at his presser later. Having him back, I think, would be a bonus. But I think if Tav, as Thomas says there, if that trio don't make it, and we know that Raskin certainly won't, doesn't sound as if Tav will I think you're right. I think you're looking at Robin proper to have that, and hopefully he can rise to the occasion in the same way that Nico Raskin did in the Old Firm game.
Yeah, listen, he's got great experience. Robin Proper, certainly question marks over whether he is the answer for Rangers in these matches, but certainly leadership-wise, he was at the 20 captain, of course, so it would not be an alien role for him. Wanted to mention this because the young boys were in action yesterday. Peggy raises the point. Well done to the young lads last night. Promising talent there. Yeah, Rangers B team defeating Celtic in the Glasgow Cup. It was behind closed doors at Oakville View, this home of Stenhousemuir. Rangers running out 3-1 victors thanks to strikes from Finlay Curtis, who continues to impress. Blaine McClure and Celtic pulled a goal back before Zach Lovelace, just as he did in the Cup final a few weeks ago. He scored 5 minutes from time to restore Rangers' 2-goal advantage. Zach Lovelace scoring again. Finlay Curtis, another one scoring. Chris, these lads must be knocking on the door, surely.
You would hope so, but I think, as we said yesterday, it's a big call for the manager to go and put young, fairly inexperienced players in right now. Certainly in that forward area where there's so much pressure. If you go and put a couple in and they don't perform, you can really leave yourself up against it. We saw the reaction when Igaman and Cerny didn't start against Motherwell a couple of weeks ago. Igaman and Cerny surely have to start tomorrow. I would hope that the situation over the course of the season lends itself to Rangers being able to put some more young players in the matchday squad. You look at some of the guys who are on the fringes of that squad, the guys who could pick up 10-15 minutes here and there, likes of Kieran Dowell, likes of Lawrence now, likes of Matondo. What are Rangers really gaining from giving these guys 10-15 minutes at the end of matches, unless you're throwing likes of Matondo on to try and turn the game for you, to try and win the game for you? If Rangers are comfortable in matches, certainly at Ibrox, what are you really learning by putting players like that on? You have to give the kids a chance. You have to give them that pathway. You have to show that pathway is there, because Rangers need to get better at bringing players through. We see results like that one last night, like the cup final that we covered a couple of weeks ago. We see results like that, and everyone says there's talent there. There's definitely potential within that squad. It doesn't then manifest itself regularly enough into first team players. I think as we've touched on previously, that's not just a Rangers problem. That's an issue with the setup of Scottish football. Rangers have done a lot. They've tried to make that case for several seasons now that the structure has to change. There has to be a different way of operating at youth level, because the schedule and the format these boys are playing in, it's just not good enough to help them progress to the level that are required. So it's definitely something that has to be addressed, but it's a wider issue. I had a piece on the site a couple of weeks ago, looking at, I think it was King and Lowry and others, and almost like a lost generation of kids. Rangers almost have to write off that generation. Your King, Lowry, Devine, they're almost yesterday's men. You have to find a way for the next batch of kids coming through. Find a way to get them the game time required. But I say Rangers, they have made that case. Craig Mulholland was a big advocate of it when he was head of academy. The club will obviously move to appoint a head of academy at some point, and that will be one of the top things on their agenda as well. How can they find a better solution for Rangers within the current format? But also, how can they find a better solution for Rangers that changes Scottish football? And as we know, changing Scottish football is not the easiest of endeavours. So it's a shame, because I think there is talent there. There has been talent there, but through no fault of their own or through no fault of Rangers, it's just not been given the right pathway at times. And I think you can also give Rangers a wee bit of criticism for not being good enough at bringing players through and giving them those chances. You look at some of the squad options that are there. Would it make a massive difference if, I say, Dowell was not there or Matondo wasn't there, but you had a younger player on the bench that you can give 10-15 minutes to every so often? Something I would like to see, but very much down to the manager on that one.
Yeah, I certainly want Fraserburgh game for me is an ideal opportunity to play these young lads. And I'm not talking about getting 10 minutes at the end of the game. Let's start one or two of them, or give them a second half, because I think that would be provide a great chance for them to really showcase their talents in a game that, no disrespect to Fraserburgh, but Rangers should win and win handsomely. Right, that'll do us there. A big thank you to Chris. Apologies again, folks, for my dodgy Wi-Fi. My router's having a nightmare this morning, but thank you for bearing with. Just a reminder, our players put up for the press at 2 p.m. To those of you that are extra, we'll be back with the press conference reaction video this afternoon. Both press conferences will be available to watch. Wrap up there for now. Thank you to you all for tuning in, and I'll speak to you later on.